Well, that sets us perfectly up for our next guest. Is Dr. Michael Nevradakis. He's the host of Dialogos Radio. He's a teacher at the American College of Greece. Michael, welcome to Fault Lines. Let's start there.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
Good morning. Yeah, I guess you heard we've been talking about the Turkish leader Erdogan and his, I'm going to use this term, antics over the last couple months, because they seem to have gone over the top. And certainly, I know there are issues. But right now, Erdogan seems to have issues with any number of particular countries. But I know there are some issues between Turkey and Greece regarding like the Aegean Sea, drilling rights, etc. So what's going on? You're in Greece. How are the people in Greece viewing the issues that are going on with Turkey right now and President Erdogan's, let's use the term, adventurous foreign policy?
Well, a lot of what is going on really has been going on for quite a while, so I'll try to be very concise in my explanation. One of the big issues has to do with the Aegean Sea and also the Mediterranean Sea and the respective continental shelves of the two countries. And this is important because it has to do with drilling rights, as you mentioned. There is said to be large deposits of hydrocarbons beneath the Aegean and beneath the Mediterranean Sea, underwater Greek territorial waters, and also underwater Cypriot territorial waters. And what has happened is Cyprus in particular has carved out various portions of its continental shelf and licensed the drilling rights to those specific portions to various multinational companies. What Turkey has been doing in the past year or so is it has been actively trying to prevent those multinationals from drilling. Now, as with regards to Greece, what Turkey has done recently is it made a deal with the internationally recognized government in Libya for basically a joint recognition of each other's continental shelves. And if one looks at a map and looks at the territory that they've carved out in the sea, this continental shelf comes directly right next to Greek islands such as Crete, and is within what is internationally recognized as Greek waters, Greek maritime space. So that is one major issue going on. Another issue is the fact that Turkey is basically the entry point for all of the different migrants and refugees that are coming into the EU through Greece. And countries in islands, rather, in the Eastern Aegean, such as Lesbos and Samos, have been completely inundated with migrants and with refugees coming in. Turkey is just letting them pass through into Greece freely. And it's overwhelming the local populations, the local resources, and it's really creating a strain on the local societies in these places. Then there's daily violations by Turkish fighter jets of Greek airspace. And this has been actually going on for quite a while. It was in 2006, for instance, during one of these incursions where a Greek Air Force pilot actually crashed his jet and lost his life in what they called a dogfight with one of these Turkish fighter jets. So we have these issues going on between Greece and Turkey right now. And it really is creating a sense among many people here. It's being fueled by a lot of what I call the so-called patriotic blogs and websites that Turkey is about to come in any minute and invade Greece and stomp all over Greece at a time where the Greek economy is still not very strong and the Greek armed forces are in not particularly good shape, according to some people at least. But at the same time, you know, if we look at Turkey and what is going on with Turkey in Syria and in Libya, where it seems that recently things have not been going so well for Turkish forces in those two countries, perhaps those fears are overstated. What I think the Greek people should be more worried about is their own government and what kind of deal it might end up making with the Turkish government and what it might end up doing by going to the International Court in The Hague. And we can talk about that if you'd like.
Talk about that a bit. I know they talk about some EU sanctions. So what's up with what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, it's two different things, really. The EU sanctions towards Turkey have had more to do with basically, let's just call them an agreement between the European Union and Turkey, where Turkey will essentially get money in exchange for not opening the floodgates entirely and filling Greece and then eventually the rest of Europe up with refugees and with migrants, even though Turkey is pretty much doing that anyway. However, where the International Court of Justice comes in is on the part of Greece. The current Greek government, which has been in power since July of 2019, so less than a year, has been saying that we are going to take Turkey to the International Court of Justice in The Hague, and we are going to settle our disputes with Turkey regarding the continental shelf and all sorts of other territorial claims at the International Court of Justice. Now, the issue here, this may sound good on paper, but the problem is that typically the party that goes to the International Court of Justice seeking some sort of recourse is the party that feels that it has been the victim of, let's say, some kind of injustice. You've taken over my land, that land belongs to me, therefore I'm taking you to court.
Just so you know, Michael, we got about 1 minute, so you got about a minute to wrap by that.
Absolutely. In the case of Greece, this is land, this is territory that is recognized by international treaty. So there's nothing to dispute. So people in Greece are worried that by opening up a dispute at the International Court of Justice where there is no dispute, it opens the door for Greece to potentially lose territory to Turkey via the legal route. So those are the concerns in Greece right now.
All right. Thank you very much. We got a little late start, so we'll get you back on. I also know you've done some work on, radio, the second century of radio and the digital age, and that's something that we do a lot of tech stuff here that we'd like to talk to you about. Coming up.